I have found even more characters in Jujutsu Kaisen that perfectly represent the 7 deadly sins. Don't worry for spoilers. Whenever there's a spoiler, I will make sure to tell you. Now let's move on to the first sin, which is gluttony. Gluttony just means that you consume a lot of a specific substance. And in my opinion, we don't even need to look further than teacher Sotomura. He is a teacher at the high school where Junpei attended. And this man has got... The man fed, so he's gluttonous when it comes to food, but also when it comes to comfort. Because if you haven't noticed, I mean... He kinda doesn't exercise, but he also didn't interfere when he saw Junpei getting bullied. He stayed in his comfort zone and acted like he didn't see anything. And because of that, Junpei walked on a dark path that eventually killed him. Satomura acknowledged that he should have done more in order to prevent this from happening. So this means that this teacher is willing to change himself. A character with a similar journey perfectly represents the sin pride. Pride is described as a too high opinion of one's own ability or worth, feeling of being better than others. And the character I chose to represent this sin is none other than Nobara Kugisaki. When we were introduced to Nobara, her pride was shining off of her. In her words, she took great pride by being a pretty girl and a strong fighter and refusing to let anyone change her mind. Nobara's pride was so high, she walked up to a model scout and asked what he thought about her. I mean, that's not weird at all, but just looking at her body language, you can just tell she was like, "Hey scout, I have arrived. When can I start?" Then Nobara had to introduce herself to Megami and Itadori. And what did she say? And later in the same chapter, Yuji and Nobara had to kill a cursed spirit which was lingering within a building. In that building was a scared boy, and Nobara told that boy to come to her. The boy refuses to move. Maybe he was just too scared to move, or he couldn't. But what did Nobara say? Nobara could have become a queen or a princess and would refuse to fight a villain just because a pimple might appear on her skin. But luckily for us and her, Nobara learned that her beauty doesn't always come first. She even learned to put others before herself. Nobara is well loved, and her change in character may be a big factor. Character a lot of people also love does not perfectly represent the sin lust. Spoiler ahead, go to this timestamp in order to not get spoiled, because I don't have a good reputation when it comes to choosing a character that perfectly represents the sin lust. I chased the sin lust in another sin called disobedience. Disobedience means failure or refusal to obey rules or someone in authority. The character that instantly popped in my mind was Hakari. Hakari isn't the only one that shows disobedience. Gojo does, Tsukumo did, but when it comes to the one who shows the most disobedient behavior, it is by far Hakari. Hakari is a 3rd year student at Tokyo Jujutsu High who is currently suspended for clashing with the authority. There we go already. The nigga is suspended. He was suspended for assaulting a conservative member and decided to act outside of their regulations. But disobedience can not only be seen in his attitude, it's as if it's ingrained in his DNA. I don't have the greatest curse technique knowledge, but if I'm correct, Hakari was born with a curse technique where he has to gamble in order to hit a jackpot. If he hits the jackpot, he will be immortal for 4 minutes. He disobeys human nature itself. Sloth is described as a culpable lack of physical or spiritual effort, and a group of people I believe represent this sin is the Zenin clan. The Zenin clan was quite strong and had amazing fighters, but that doesn't deny the fact that they were defeated by one person. It's the same thing with Itachi and the Uchiha clan. Makizenin and Itachi are great fighters. They're amazingly strong. How does it make sense that they were able to kill their entire clan? Maki has almost no cursed energy, and she destroyed the Zenin fighters one by one, even the ones who had great mastery over their cursed energy. Right now I can only see the Zenin clan as a waste of time. I can only see them as weak and slothful, because what were they doing? Someone who doesn't waste his time though perfectly represents the sin greed. Greed is described as a selfish desire to have more of something or extreme desire for more, especially money or power. And the character I chose to represent this sin is Shui Kong. I'm just gonna call him Mr. Kong. Mr. Kong has played a minor role in season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. He has helped Tsukuru Geto with the base of operation after Geto became a cursed user, and he mediated between the Time Vessel Association and Toji Fushiguro to kill the Star Plasma Vessel. From the surface, he doesn't really look like a greedy man. Every time he appears on screen, he's calm, but there's one scene in Jujutsu Kaisen that shows his greedy nature. When Toji delivers the body of the Plasma Vessel to the representative of the Star Globe cult, Chiyu asks the representative a question. The representative basically answered with yes, and what reaction did Chiyu give? No care in the world. He didn't even need to give a reaction because he already knew what the consequences were. Another thing that reinforces his greedy nature is that he could have become a window to help sorcerers, but instead he chose for the dark side. I believe that he did this for money, which only seems logical because the prices on the dark side are way higher. Someone who also worked for the dark side perfectly represents the sin envy. Envy is described as a feeling of wanting something someone else has, and the character I chose to represent this sin is Mekamaru. Mekamaru started off as this R2-D2 looking as as robot. No Jujutsu Kaisen reader or watcher thought there would be a person behind this robot, but later we discovered that behind the R2-D2 looking as robot, there is a boy with a skin disease. This disease made his skin so sensitive, even moonlight made his skin burn. Every single person would hate his life in this situation, and Mekamaru wasn't different at all. And if hating yourself wasn't enough, Kokichi also got envious of his peers and the people around him, because he saw people enjoying the daylight, which he could never dream of, unless he worked with the dark side. So Kokichi made a binding vow with Mahito and Kenjaku. He would give them information, and in exchange, he would get a healthy body. His plan worked out, and he got to enjoy his body for a little bit, but until... I was very upset when Kokichi died. A character that would actually enjoy his death perfectly represents the sin. Wrath. Wrath is described as a strong feeling of hatred or resentment with a desire of vengeance. And the character that perfectly represents this virtue... And the character that perfectly represents this sin is none other than Jogo. Jogo is angry. I'm talking about angry. Look at his face.
I call this motherfucker right here HIV. You don't want to get that shit.
Jogo says that behind every person's emotions on the surface lies something else underneath. In other words, everything we show as humans is fake, except for our negative emotions. Jogo says that our negative emotions are always real. And because curses are born from people's negative emotions, that makes curses the real humans. Therefore, cursed spirits should be the ones who are dominant on this planet, and not humans. That's why I said Jogo would enjoy Kokichi's death, because he despises humans. He literally hates humans. And he wants to eradicate every human on this planet in order for the cursed spirits to be dominant on this planet.